Hello, everyone. Miss Kathy's here, but Joker is not. Unfortunately, I think he got called into some work, so I don't think he's going to be able to join me. I did receive a Twitter message from him that he may try to join in with his tablet on location. So if he pops on, great. If not, I am so happy that some of you are here waiting for me. I love doing Real Talk. I'm excited about today's topic. I personally have not had any dating relationships online because I've been married for almost 27 years, but I have had lots of friendships and virtual relationships over the past 8 years, and I've enjoyed every one of them, even the ones that were a little bit sketchy at times. But I am curious. Kit Kat is on in the chat here, and she said she has had an online relationship. So I would love for you to share. And hello, Gemma. And I see that Alien and also Studio Geek. We're both here, and I'm not sure if they are still here because that was earlier before I came on. Oh, getting a phone call. Sorry. I'm going to make my phone go silent. I will message them back later. That's a volleyball coach that I've been talking with all morning. Hello, Jess K. How are you? Those of you who are in the chat, please connect with Jess K. She is going to be joining me next week on the topic of bullying. Kit Kat, yes, I am still in one. Oh, okay. Now, Kit Kat, I personally know that you and Joker have had some form of relationship. And I don't know if that's the one that you're still in or not. So I haven't got to talk to Joker about that yet either, unfortunately. So I got wind of that. I think it was 3 weeks ago during either your live stream or Joker's live stream. Mama 4, hello. I see you waving. Cliff Riser, hello, hello. And, oh, okay. Good. Well, where is he? Kit Kat, if you want to come on, I would love to have you. I could send you a link. It's hard to do these real talks without a guest. Let me just start off by telling you guys my relationships online. They've all been, of course, with friendships. I have had several meetups, and most of my friends, your guess is as good as mine, most of my friends I'm still connected with today. There are a couple that have went a little sour, but I enjoyed the friendship while it was there. You know, I always say that friendship comes in seasons. Sometimes they're there to stay, and sometimes they're there just for the short period that they were in your life. And you just have to be grateful for every one of them. How is everyone today? And please continue to chat with me because, like I said, it's very difficult to keep this conversation going without someone giving me feedback. Gemma says, online friendships can be difficult. This is something I'm struggling with. Now, Gemma, I would think that as an autistic person, being a non-social person, would enjoy an online friendship. Me as an introvert, love having an online friendship. So tell me what it is that's difficult for you. And you know what, Gemma, actually, this is going to be a good topic that we're going to, Gemma and I will be on Wednesday, right? Is it Wednesday or next Wednesday? I think it's this Wednesday. And we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of autistic and social media. So this kind of sort of fallen along the same lines, Gemma. Coffee Talk with Rick. Thank you for joining me. He loves online relationships. And I love our online relationship, Rick and Brooke. Wednesday, yes, Gemma is Wednesday. Mama 4 says, you are so right. It's easier for me to hang out online than to try to hang out in person. Yeah, I'm very introverted, but I'm also, I love a one-on-one conversation, and I thrive on one-on-one conversations. So I had met Kay from Happy Trails Hiking 1 week ago, Valentine's Day. And hello, PM's Adventures Vlogs. Thank you for joining the chat. And I was telling her that I was introverted, and she couldn't believe it. Just from barely meeting and understanding my personality. I am very sociable, but I also get very quiet and reserved, and I get sensory overload when I'm in a crowd or even when I'm with my own family. Rick says he falls right between E and I. And Mama 4 says, more convenient. I don't have to get dressed up or figure out where to go. Well, I can totally relate there, but I have learned in my age not to care anymore. And that has been a big struggle with me too. I love to be in loungewear. But now I wear this. I'm more comfortable in loungewear than I am in, what do you want to call it? Business attire. So even when I go out on dates or if I go to parties or get-togethers, this is how they see me because this is how I'm more confident and this is how I'm more comfortable. And Joker is joining me. Yay. Kit Kat says, sorry, I'm listening, just taking care of a situation. Okay. Jessica says, yes, I love loungewear. Yeah, if I'm not in a pair of leggings or running tights, I'm in pajama pants or sweatpants or something. Coffee Talk with Rich says, I hate business attires. And you wear a jacket as well. Yeah, I just, Chris and I belong to a church that is very casual. They even sell in their bookstore, they sell hoodies and pullovers and t-shirts. Our pastor wears t-shirts and hoodies and pullovers and jeans and sweatpants. So Jessica says your outfit's cute. I wear the same stuff. I stopped, when I stopped working in the workforce, I used to work for a company called Ralston Purina. And even then I just loved my black slacks with just a cardigan and a sleeveless tank top or something underneath it. But I just really feel so confident. I tell my husband I look more sexier in a Nike pullover and some yoga pants than I do if I wear jeans and a cute sweater or something.
What kind of talk is this?
Hey, I know we're not really. I'm so glad you're joining me. We're talking about how we interact and meet people and how we're comfortable in the clothes that we wear and how I don't have to dress up to feel comfortable. Coffee Talk says no pantsuit like Hillary. You guys, welcome Joker. Joker, I'm so glad. Are you off work or are you on work? Are you taking a work break?
No, I am off work. I'm off work. I made it.
He's in the dressing room. I like it. Welcome. Are you getting dressed for the occasion? Please wear.
I put on a nice shirt. That's something. Not too. I had to do something. Not too much trickery going on today, but
it's more than I did. I'm wearing my husband's pickleball t-shirt.
Pickleball t-shirt. All right. Well, there's nice a little something. I got on a nice shirt, and not too much trickery going on.
Well, that's okay. I love a button down. All my boys wear button downs.
Yeah. Well, no tie. Sorry, no suit, no tie, but figured, something. So what? Yeah, well, I don't know. That walked in on the wrong sentence there, I guess. It's like, I don't know what this talk is about.
What did I say? That I feel more sexier in a Nike pullover?
Yes. You should never use that word again.
What, sexy?
Just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, you got me nervous. You can't tell?
Oh, please don't be nervous. Welcome to my home. Pull up a chair. Have a drink. Take off your shoes. Get comfy.
Yeah.
So Joker and I, we've been discussing offline about online relationships. And I was telling Joker a few weeks back about friendships I've had and how meetups I've had and how some of them have gone sour and some of them now are truly my best friends that I've ever had. And Joker has had more experience with dating relationships versus like myself, friendship relationships. So I wanted to talk about the difference with dating. And so I can't wait to hear about your experiences and how you handle this because my sons are single, and I know that they search for a significant other online, because nowadays that seems to be what the generation is doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say first, I think it's very possible. It's very possible to find love, to find your person online. If done, if done the right way, and that's where, but that's where it gets gray. There's no, the history of man. There's been kind of an idea of how dating goes and what comes before what and how it kind of goes. But as far as now it's online, there's no book to read. There's very little. There's very little literature to read, and there's no right way to do things. It's the way it's always been. So it's kind of hard to know how to do it, how to approach it. But yes, I a little bit about my dating history online is I'm currently in a relationship that is online, is the fourth one I've been in. My very first relationship ever, real relationship, was from an online, 15. So that's now 17 years ago. And then most of the other ones, or all the other ones, have really kind of been recently. But I've had long distance relationships since, like, other than that as well, where a relationship started where we were in the same city, and then she moved away, which is actually that very first relationship is where most of my experience, I would say, comes from, because it started online. It was back in the day of AIM. AOL Instant Messenger was a big thing. And so it was just chat rooms, and you went into all these chat rooms and all these kids and adults, I would assume, telling you who knows what. But this girl lived about an hour from me. And well,
did you know that she lived an hour from you?
Not really originally. I mean, when you at least back then, you would, that was one of the first things you would say is like 17/male/ Georgia or something. So like I kind of knew like she was in the area, but I didn't really know. And plus, you don't even know who you're really talking to. Well, I ended up, getting her phone number, and we talked on the phone and became really good friends. Well, she liked my friend better, my best friend at the time, better. Sad story. But I ended up dating her best friend for a while, and they only lived an hour away. So it was reasonable, 45 minutes to an hour. It was reasonable to drive. I was just started driving. I mean, I literally had a permit, a learner's permit. It was how old I was. It was 15. And it was reasonable though to drive over there for a date, for 3 or 4 hours hanging out on an evening or on the weekend, and driving back. So I mean, that was that's an hour and a half. Wasn't unreasonable. It still created its problems, but it wasn't unreasonable to see her a couple of times a week, really. And it was tough though. I mean, we used to have to do things like to it's always weird meeting somebody. You never know what or who you're really been talking to. Even if you're talking to them on the phone on somewhat of a regular basis, it's very hard to understand who you're really talking to. And I don't mean that the person's being fake or that the person's not telling you the truth, which could very well be true. I also, some know, some don't. I've spent some time right before YouTube. My main hobby was hunting down and exposing catfish online.
My son was catfished.
Yeah, you told me about that. And catfishing is a real thing. It is a very real thing, and it causes a lot of people a lot of problems, a lot of financial problems. They get roped into scams and a lot of heartbreak, where people think they know somebody, they think they are falling in love, and it's not the person that they've been communicating with.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I mean, that hobby stemmed from from my relationships online. And I have never had a true bad catfishing experience like that. For me, like to get vengeance or anything. I do know some people that have in the past, and it is a real thing. I mean, what you see on MTV, I think it's just called the Catfish Show or Catfish or something.
Yeah. Whenever it happened, I mean, I feel like it happened to me too, because she started getting my son to want a better relationship with his mother. And so I just felt so like violated because he was becoming so close to me because of this girl. So then I wanted to get to know this girl, it's like, oh, wow, every mother loves the girl who makes their son a better person, right?
Exactly.
So it was a strange thing to have happen. He refused to ever speak of it. It was humiliating and horrible for him.
I'm sure. I mean, that's where you fall. Everybody falls in. Nobody presents themselves at the beginning of a situation, of any situation, really, even in a real life dating situation, with the worst stuff. They're only you online. We know, everybody knows, that's probably watching from being on YouTube, that you present what you want to present. You suck it up, you smile, you put on your best self in front of the camera. And it's the same way when you're protected behind the keyboard and behind, even on the phone, when you're not having to, you may have insecurities on the way you look, the way you sound, the way you dress, anything that you can keep masked from this other person and kind of present your best self, even on the phone. And so in a situation like yours, I mean, yes, you just presented what you wanted to hear, basically. And it's easy to fall for it. Everybody wants love and everybody wants happiness for their children, like you, or whatever. I mean, it's easy to rope someone into when you're hitting them right in the heartstrings,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even like friendships, I can tell you, I've met a couple of friends, and we've met I was telling Joker that I met a girlfriend on, why am I running out of words? Neutral territory, where we weren't in each other's homes. And then later went to her home and felt like she was a completely different person. And so I was trying to warn Joker of that, because of my own personal experience with that. It's like, you think you know someone until they're in their environment. And
that's where I believe to be the biggest or hardest part. Because, of course, when we talk about catfish and all of that, you're talking about people trying to scam, people lying, people hiding parts of themselves, people being fake, however you want to say that. But even if you try your absolute best to present everything that you have and everything that you are, it is impossible to do that. It is impossible to present all aspects of yourself to someone on the phone, online, in video calls even. Of course, the more when you go from typing to on the phone to video calls, you can get more and more information, but you're still lacking a lot of information that you may take for granted right now. You meet someone for the very first time on a first date, a blind date, let's say, and from the first 5 minutes, you're gathering all kinds of information that you may not even be aware of from all of your senses, including smell, taste. Taste is kind of the one that goes a little bit more, becomes a little bit more of an intimate situation, but but still, I mean, it is possible that you can taste their perfume a lot sometimes, I mean, that's still possible, but and if you're not collecting from all your senses, then it's kind of hinders you from being able to make your best judgment.
And so you have had 4 online relationships, you said. So you've talked about the first one. Tell us about some of the other ones.
Well, let me finish just a little bit with the first one. So the first one was my first relationship, and it went well. Everything was good. Like I said, we went back and forth a couple times a week. Well, then her father had gotten, I remember I was still in high school, so her father had gotten a transfer to Chicago. And so that relationship became now from online to half on in real life to now the decision are we going to continue it, try to do a long distance relationship, which presents a whole nother yet crossover kind of aspect into it. Because we had all the ideas of who we were and what all of that we were just referring to, but now how are we going to be able to keep this up? How long? It would be at least a couple years before we got to be 18 and kind of moving on into a position where we could, maybe come back together or whatever. And that didn't last very long after that. That's happened twice, really. Same thing happened in college. When I went to college, I was dating my high school sweetheart, if you will, I guess. The next relationship I was in after that, I was in for a while. And then when it came to college, we tried to do long distance at 2 different schools. And long distance, for very similar reasons why online relationships don't work, presents its own problems, even if you know the person, because you don't know what they're doing. No matter how much they tell you, you can believe them. You can believe them, and they could have never shown you any reason to distrust them. But there's just situations that you're going to create in your own head that's, oh, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they answer in this amount of time? If he said he was done doing this, then how come he hasn't, all of these things kind of just start to build up slowly in your head. And it's hard to hold on to that faith, that trust that your partner is faithful to you, is loyal to you, and that and that it is real. I think in any relationship, at some point in a relationship that goes sour of any kind, at some points, one of the two people just changes their mind, and whether they know it or not, they've now kind of decided, well, maybe this isn't for me. And it becomes difficult because the other person may still be all about it and still be wanting everything. And it's that middle area that's really when feelings get hurt and things start to get nasty, and it becomes what it is, what most people have experienced.
Yeah.
When it goes bad. And it's just online or in long distance, it's hard to, without the physical intimacy aspect, which is not, here's where I'm running into problems. We're not talking about intercourse. Okay. I'm not at all. It doesn't have to be that. Of course, that is an aspect in it, in your relationship, of course. But physical intimacy can come from just holding someone's hand, hugging, to just that presence of someone. No matter what fact that we're fighting, we had a fight. We're still here, sitting next to each other, and you can feel that, and you can feel their presence, and it gives you that comfortable, things are going to be okay kind of feeling. Yeah. Without that aspect, it's very hard to have the faith and have the trust into it's still there. It is there. I'm not the only one feeling it. We're both feeling it. It's real. We're going to do this. And it's hard to keep that every day, all day, especially when you have people in your ear. You always got people in your ear telling you one thing too, telling you something different.
Yeah, I would think that it would be very difficult to have an online relationship if there are more online people involved. I think it's hard to have any relationship when you have other outsiders involved in it. That's when you really have to cut the ties. If you really want to have a relationship with someone, it needs to be between the two of you, not involving other people. And that's even with friendships. I mean, that's why I've never been a cliquey kind of friend either. I'm a one-on-one person.
And I think that's where YouTube, a situation like YouTube comes into play in my current relationship and in relationships I've had since being on more of presenting myself online. I mean, is because everybody feels like they have an insight into your life. And so it's like when you put yourself, exposing yourself completely, especially in video form, like the platform on YouTube, it's like, more people seem to have an idea of who you are or what you're about, or because you said this or did this, she should know about that, or he should know, he needs to know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just drama, but it's, it does definitely play a factor, as opposed to if I, didn't have that many relationships. I wasn't present myself like that online, and I didn't have that many, cliquey, gossipy, circles in my real social life, then yeah, that definitely presents its own problems.
Yeah, I think that falls in the line of gossip, because that's when you have a relationship with someone, like you and I have a relationship, we are friends, mm-hmm. but I don't discuss anything that you and I do with someone else. And mm-hmm. I think that's very important that people do that. I know Gemma very well. Gemma mm-hmm. and I have a lot of things. You're very close with Gemma, but mm-hmm. I don't know anything about your relationship with Gemma. I only know my relationship with Gemma. And I think that's really, really important that people do that.
And it is very important. But not only is it very important, it's also important to remind your friends, even your or your partner, that of the fact that you are keeping it that way. Because of course, everybody, you can trust someone, but when you get these other aspects, like people in your ear or these doubts, because the worst two things that her relationship is doubt and fear. And if those things are going to creep up in every relationship, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I am one for a belief in the, you know, somewhat of the ideal of a fairy tale and true love. I'm a believer in that, but
Me
I,
too.
I still just think it's hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe that at no point ever in either one of their minds did they have any doubt, not have any doubt. And at some point, some sort of doubt or fear is going to creep in, and it's just kind of human nature.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, trust is huge. Trust is very
It's how
huge.
much you let that, you know, I've talked with people recently about their faith in God and another and faith in anything. To question is not to doubt. To question is not fear. You should be questioning everything. That, you know, it's you know, as well as anybody that on my, you know, I've been saying a lot of things about ignorance and that sort of thing. And it's to doubt, to question is not to doubt, but to question can, you know, even if doubt is the motive behind your questioning, doesn't mean that it's like detrimental to the situation, that it's going to end the situation, that you should be worried now because you're doubting.
I'm at fault. I'm a questioner, and I rub people the wrong way with my questions. And it's very difficult for me to explain. I'm just asking. You have the right to either answer it or give me more details, but I'm just asking because I'm a curious cat. You know, I just ask questions. And sometimes my husband, he'll be like, you don't need to ask them that. I'm like, but I want to know.
And then go ahead.
Can I address the chat real quick? I want to go back. I feel really bad. There was some really cool conversations up above, I know, with other people that have had experience with online relationships. And I believe it was Midnight Raven who, let me find it.
I'm trying to pull up the chat myself.
Let's see where we were talking about my clothes. Okay, thinking of others, just wanted to say hi, hello to everyone. I am Dave. Thank you for coming, Dave. Nice to have you if you are still here. Sorry, we're behind on the chat. Gemma says Joker is my best friend. Kit Kat says yes, online dating is normal. And Remy Moore says hi all. Remy Moore, I had a 10-year relationship that started online. Okay, you said had, Remy. If you're still here, we'd love to hear more about it. And Midnight Raven, here she is. I met my partner on a text dating website on my phone, and 12 years later, we are still together. Wow, on a dating website on your phone 12 years ago. I wonder if that was similar to what you were talking about, Joker. 12 years ago on a dating website.
It's, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very possible, and it's, you know,
Farmel, hello. Ability Mom of Two, hello. I'm sorry, keep going, Joker. I just want to make sure I'm seeing all of you. Thank you for coming, and please continue to mingle and get to know one another in the chat. Hello, Food Forest, Permaculture. I got to read this because you never know what he's going to say. Well off to the ocean for some negative ions and seaweed for the food forest. Been a pleasure and enjoyed the content. Bye, Earthlings. I love his wordings. Hello, Alien. I met all of you on YouTube. LOL. Alien wrote a song about meeting on YouTube. I hope all of you will check that out.
I think I've seen that one.
Oh, I think he put the link to it. That's a great song. So, yeah. Okay. So go ahead. What were you saying? Hello, life with ankylosing spondylitis.
I mean, I was going to say, just, you know, in regards to what Midnight Raven said, was that, yes, I mean, it is absolutely possible. I don't think that it's something that maybe people should be cautious of because of these things that I'm saying, but I don't. Here's the thing, and about me personally. I live my life and make most of my decisions based on statistics and probability. I'm a very literal thinker. I am an overthinker, overanalyzer. But I told myself a long time ago, I also have a very deep fear of commitment. I mean, no, sorry, not commitment. It's different. I have a very deep fear of failure. It's different than commitment, but they're similar, just different. Because it's not that I'm afraid to get into something that I won't be able to get out of. It's I'm afraid to get into anything that I won't be able to succeed at, that I won't be, you know. So having said that, though, I told myself a long time ago, and I've tried to stick to this. I will always follow my heart. It's the one thing that I will not let that fear. And that fear creeped into my life in so many ways, and still to this, I mean, it's something I fight all the time. And I have told myself that when it comes to love and to partners and anything, that I'm just gonna do what I feel like is at the moment. Like, I'm just gonna follow my heart, and I'm not gonna let that fear overtake me. And it has come up in some of these relationships, but I do my best to not do that. Because I don't know, so many people in this world and in this life just don't find love and don't find happiness. And if I'm hindering myself by worrying about all of these negatives and they're keeping me from making my decisions on finding a partner, then what, I don't want to hinder myself into being with somebody that would be the ultimate failure, would be to end up alone and never found someone. And so I told myself a long time ago I wouldn't do that. And I've pretty much stuck to that. And it's, like I said, I believe it's possible. It's just, it may be a tad more, there's these other things. I don't even know if it's more difficult. Dating in real life is hard. It sucks. I've done that plenty of times too. I mean, it's not easy for different reasons. There's different reasons that that are good about online relationships and online dating relationships, that you kind of, some of the negatives on the real life situation, you don't have to worry about as much. And so, you can get past, some of the negatives. It's definitely lots of positives to it as well. It's just different. And again, there's just not a whole lot of literature on the subject. So it's kind of hard to, I like to read and to know what I'm getting into before I get into it, and can't really do that.
Since you've had some experience with dating online, I mean, what are the types of different online dating sites? Like, I mean, mostly are they now gamers? Is that
for online dating? For online dating, they're gamers. No.
Well, I mean, it just seems to me that seems to be so popular, and I started to wonder. I'm like, is that because they're all trying to find a significant other while they're playing these games?
No, there's different types. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know if I still have that up. I'd have to really deep for it, but there was one stream I did here weeks and weeks ago about all the different online dating websites.
There are millions.
Yeah. And I mean, there's ones for farmersonly.com. There's ones for any fetish or any weird, like mullets.
Farmersonly.com.
Farmersonly.com. Anything. So
you're literally looking for someone who farms?
Yeah. The farming life, the simple life. People that, like horses and animals and hard work, I guess. I don't know. But there's anything from that. And there's also like outcasts, people that feel introverts, that feel outcasts.com. I don't know what the exact .coms are, but there's a website for a lot of many different things. But outside of those, when you look at, because I've spent some significant time on these websites, on several of them. And when you talk about the main ones, like you see Match.com, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, the main, they all have plenty of, wow. I won't say what I would say.
I feel so old. I feel so
plenty of moms is what I call it. But most of my relationships have been mothers. They've been mothers with other children. So I'm not saying anything against mothers and dating women that have children, but that's what that site is for. Sorry.
Well, I guess it's good to know if you're a single guy and you've never had kids, if you're going to be dating a woman with kids.
Yeah. No. And that's an aspect that I've been, if you catfished, if you will. I mean, I've been misled on that kind of, there's Tinder as well. Tinder is probably the most popular these days. I've met people on Tinder. I have not met anyone too serious for a relationship on Tinder. I mean, it's all about how you approach the situation and how it happens to you. Of course, everybody on all of these sites, at least the main ones, people are finding true love. So it's not, my experience is not how they are or the only way that they are. But
I mean, I suggest it to my kids because that's how I found my true friends, is online. I mean, I literally have the best friends I have ever had, and they are online friends. Some of them I have yet to meet. I may never meet them.
Yeah. Hi, Casey. Hi, Casey. How are you? Thank you for being here.
Hello, Casey.
but yeah, so, you know, and they just present themselves in different ways. I mean, Tinder is kind of a lot more on your profile, and you know, this it's the one where I'm sure you've heard at least, Kathy, the swipe left, swipe right, you know, when you kind of go through them real quick, and I believe it to be a little bit more about personal appearance. Then like OK Cupid is one where they like ask you before you even kind of start, they ask you like 30, 50 like questions about you know, your things that you like and things that you find important and how important you think those things are. And it kind of gives you a little bit better idea of I feel like your match is a little bit closer. But that also presents its own problems, because just because an online questionnaire says that you're a 90% matched you know, you could easily opposites attract, you know, so you don't always want to find someone just like yourself.
Yeah, most certainly. I think that even when I'm picking my friends, or if I'm getting more involved with friends online, I like to see where they are and what they live like, where their local friends are, what they're doing with their time when they're not behind the screen, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's kind of where, the important, you know, we've talked about this offline, but that's when it becomes important. Some of the things that people may not realize, but do become important when you have an online relationship, and is finding a way to get to know someone on a everyday life situations. So not just, okay, you called, I'm going to sit here in front of yeah, I'm not going to answer. I'll call him back. I'm going to go and get ready. I'm going to go and put on my best face and my best this, my best that, and present, make sure my room's clean, and then we'll talk, you know, or same thing with guys. I mean, guys should go through the same thing. You know, I'm not referring to just women, but yeah, you know, also, you know, because when you're in a relationship, you see them first thing in the morning before they even get out of bed, or with bed hair, or, you know, you see them after the gym sweaty, or you see them after work when they've been stressed all day and their feet hurt or whatever. And without those situations, you're already at a hindrance. You're already not being given all the information to make good decisions in this relationship. So without those situations as well, you're now just making it more difficult.
Yeah. I know my friends, they've had girlfriends on Facebook, and all they are Snapchat filters. I'm like, you don't even know what that girl looks like. Every single girl out there looks exactly the same with the Snapchat filter on their face.
And any still picture is gonna you can only get so much information from a still picture. I mean, and I don't know what the answers are. I don't know how that you can do these things to present your real self. You know, it's not easy to do, and if you I don't know the answers, but it kind of, I guess, like, you know, it's like we were talking one of the last times we talked on the phone on a video call, and just, you know, talking to you while I was making a sandwich at lunch. Instead of like sitting there and being presented in front of a camera and it being like right here, you know, I mean, I was moving around and getting in the kitchen. I don't know, I think I said some things to my dogs, and I, you know, talked about how my refrigerator was, you know, messy or whatever. And it was like,
and I took you in the car and brought you to Walmart with me.
Yeah, and it's things like that you kind of give people, give your partner a better sense of yourself. You actually kind of let some of those walls down too. That's really what it's about, is you letting those walls down of you're not presenting your best self. You're just presenting you, and therefore, and it's not that you're being fake on the other times. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it kind of naturally.
I think it's important that if you do want to engage in an online relationship with someone, it can't be just when they're with a green screen behind them. Like, you need to get to know the person. Yes, you do need to get to see their room and their refrigerator and their vehicle and their other people in their lives. Definitely. I have to go up to the chat for a minute. I read something funny from Patsy, but before that, ability of mom, I have to find my scroll bar so I can go up there. Forgive me, people. I lost it. Okay, hold on. There it is. I think she said if I were to meet my husband on an app, I wouldn't choose him or something like that.
Yeah, no, ability mom of two vlog says, yeah, I think if I was able to choose my husband from an app, I would have never chose him. He wasn't what I usually was out looking for, and we have been together for 13 years.
Go ahead and read Patsy's.
Patsy right below that says, Patsy Houlihan says you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. I beg to differ. I have seen this.
Gemma says she personally chooses to be single and she does not want a relationship personally and wouldn't cope with it. And Casey says, well, there's no problem with choosing to be single, but don't wait too long and then become 50 years old like me and don't have anyone, because the older you get, the dating pool gets smaller. I have to disagree with you, Casey. If I was single today, I think that I would have probably a better successful relationship than I did when I was in my 20s or 30s. I really do believe that.
Now, kind of on a side note, but similar, there's this thing going around now between, and I only know mainly from people my age and my age group, but really in general, because when I used to, before YouTube as well, I used to play poker a lot. I played poker 4 or 5 nights a week. And so at the poker table, lots of things, people are drinking, people are having a good time, cutting loose, people, things here said. And I used to have, it was a common thing to hear from a guy specifically that dating is not the same anymore. You can't find people in real life. It's so hard. And I absolutely couldn't disagree more. It is no different than it's ever been. There's still just as many single people out there ready to mingle than there have ever been. It's this idea, though, that online is where a lot of people these days spend most of their time that they would have spent socially in a different situation. They may spend online on their couch with a bowl of ice cream. I mean, it's fine. I do it myself. It's just that you can't, because you spend most of your time doing that. And if you don't if you don't partake in these dating websites and whatnot to find members of the opposite sex while you're doing your social activity, then how are you supposed to find anybody? Now you don't want to do it online, but then you're saying that because there's no one out there, but you won't put yourself out there. I mean, every building you drive by every day has people in it that are single. They're all out there. You just have to go look, and people. It
would be easier for me online, though. I mean, that's what I was trying to make with KC is I don't do well with a bunch of people. I couldn't go to a bar today or even at a gym because I don't do well with a whole bunch of crowds. I would have to be a one-on-one person. So I would have to meet them at a coffee shop, and I'd have to get them to be willing to come meet me at a coffee shop. So how do you get that? How do you get to meet that person?
Personal opinion, the bars are not a good place to meet women, or meet a partner. I guess that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I tell my kids the same thing. I'm like, please.
The atmosphere. I used to think, oh, that's silly. There's good people that go to bars. Yes, there are. Yes, there absolutely are. And there's good people that drink alcohol, and there's good faithful Christian people. There's good, there's upstanding people that of all kinds that goes to bars, and that's not the point. It's just your odds are increased on the amount of people that are promiscuous and substance abuse problems. You're limiting your probability of meeting a good person. Not that there aren't good people there, but you're now increasing the probability that you're going to meet somebody that's not what you want. If those are the characteristics that you want, right, then that you're now increasing your probability of having that type of person in that atmosphere. So it's not that they're not there. It's just you're making it a little bit harder on yourself than to meet someone in a different atmosphere. That's all I wanted to say about that. Vanessa
Kitty says she came across her husband online in a Yahoo chat group in 2001. Over the years, we got to know each other. We've been married now 10 years this October. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Kit Kat says she thinks a couch and chocolate chip cookie dough and ice cream sounds amazing. Me too. Gemma says, no thanks. The thought of having to make social chit chat and questioning a man, no thanks. Gemma, I find that so funny that you say that because you're so talkative on your live streams and you have so many friends now online in this past year that I've known you. Vanessa, that finding on Yahoo only happened as AOL began shutting down chat rooms. So if I never took the leap to Yahoo, I may not have ever met my future husband.
Yes, I don't know if you were here earlier, Vanessa, but my first ever long-term relationship was from someone from an AIM chat room, and it's probably a very similar situation, I'm sure. And I'm still friends with the original girl that I met, not the girl that I dated, but the original girl that I met online that I ended up dating her best friend. I'm still friends with that girl today. I mean, she's one of my best friends I've ever known. So, I mean, it's definitely you can definitely meet people, and it's, here's the thing too. There's difference. Meeting people online is a very difficult thing to describe because you're looking at like on your Facebook, okay, on your Facebook and your friends, you're probably, especially if coming out of high school or even in general, most people, they're most of their friends, like, I don't know, my friends list is a little bit different, but I have 15,000 Facebook friends. But
Oh yeah, I can't go by that. I think I have like
most people that have a few hundred. Most of them, a lot of them are probably in your area or someone in your geographical region, and so you might, as opposed to, and that's what the online dating sites are also trying to regionally put people together, because obviously the lot farther you are away from someone, the harder it becomes, the more of these things, because the less time you may get to spend together makes these things more difficult, I believe.
But the more you talk with that person on a daily basis, the more you want to be with them more. Hey, Angel.
Say that again.
I think the more you talk with the person that you are meeting online, the more often and the longer you do, I think you would want to be together. But
yeah,
that is what I was telling you before, is I've been friends with someone for a whole year and then met them and then thought, oh my gosh, they're a totally different person. But not that I'm still friends. I just know that I'm better friends apart. I'm not very good friends with my friend when I'm with her. I'm better when we're apart talking.
Here's where I kind of disagree with what Casey says. She says, I don't want to meet someone in a bar because they're there to drink, and I don't want someone who is a drunk. My dad owned a bar, and he told me never to meet a man in a bar. And again, I disagree with you to the fact that not everyone's there to drink. I go out on social situations with 4 or 5 people, and we go to the bar to drink, or we go to the bar to hang out, and there's 2 people drinking, 3 people not. One person, I mean, and a lot of times, the girls that I've known, they'll drink like cranberry and water or something to present, not to fool people to think they're drinking, but just so they don't get a lot of questions about it and people asking. They always have a drink. They don't get asked to buy shots or anything like that. There's lots of people in the bars that you don't even realize that haven't even had a sip of alcohol, because it is a social atmosphere that is natural. It's a natural social atmosphere a place to go to shoot pool or watch sporting events or get some good food, that just happens to be a place where a lot of people go that are drunks, and a lot of people that go that drink a lot. They're there to get drunk, but there are plenty of people there that are not.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a local tavern is probably somewhere like my son goes there to shoot pool and bounces. So he doesn't drink.
It depends on what kind of area you live into, because, down in the city, in the downtown Atlanta, I mean, there's lots of bars that are lots of places you can go, lounges and things that are, it's a lot different than if you got one bar in your town and it's the local pub, cowboy pub. And it's, it's where everybody knows to go. And it's not fun unless you're drinking. Like, it's loud and it's just not your atmosphere. I mean, but downtown, you go downtown Atlanta, there's something for everybody, from quiet reading lounges, cigar bars, to, all kinds of different places that fit your, like, comic book store. There's a place that I do a business, because I work in the restaurant industry. And so there's a place like I do that's all about, it's called you're probably laughing, Miss Kathy. It's called my parents' basement. That's what it's called. It's the name of a bar. It's called My Parents' Basement, and it's a comic book bar, and they have comic books everywhere. They have those little not punk, what are they called? Funko things all over the walls. And they come and they have like trading auctions and stuff for the Funkos and all this. And I've never seen I've been there many times, and I've never seen a belligerent drunk there. So, but yet alcohol is still a central part of the business. It just doesn't breed that kind of
books and Funko. It sounds like a geek hangout.
Well, it's called My Parents' Basement. Okay, they kind of let you know that from the sound, from the name of the.
Yeah, it's like my boys. They hang out in Mama's basement and play Dungeons and Dragons. They have bro nights. Good guys. The bar my son bounces in is called the Library. And he used to call me, I'm like, what are you doing tonight? He's like, I'm at the library.
No, okay.
Like,
Vanessa
really?
Vanessa says being truthful to others is how you build relationships. Why would you not say what they are drinking when they're if at a bar or if asked at a bar? Basically, what it said. That's not what I'm saying. And I was afraid that would be how I presented it. What I was meaning to say is that it may to somebody at first glance seem like there's a group of people sitting at a table, playing pool, and just because they're holding a drink doesn't mean that they're actually drinking. I didn't say to lie to people and to not answer the question. I'm saying that sometimes I've known people that have held have gotten a drink that looks like an alcoholic drink just to keep the number of questions down. Not that they wouldn't answer the question if asked, but that they will get too many. Sometimes people get drunks are pushy, and drunks want to be or don't want to feel like that they are. I mean, I'm guilty of this myself. They're the only ones drinking, or that they think it's the fun way to let loose, and so you kind of push people to drink. Take a shot with you. Plus, it is a good way to offer a girl a drink, to buy a drink or such. And, it just might deter them from asking the questions. Not that you wouldn't answer it appropriately.
If I was single, I wouldn't be afraid to meet someone at a bar, but I wouldn't want to continue going to the bar after I've met them if they wanted a relationship with me. Yeah, no, so overall, it's not a good idea. I mean, it's not the best place. You can do it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. I've met some of my girlfriends at a bar, but it's just not, you're just limiting the chance of finding the person you're looking for. If that's what you're looking for, it depends on everybody's different. Right. So probably should get off that subject. Angel says, my man will not be visiting bars. Not on my watch, baby. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, once they become if you meet someone at a bar, you can't just knock that you didn't go to a bar to meet somebody. I mean, what if that's the man that, you're going to fall in love with someday? I'm saying
exactly. I mean,
continue those bars without you. You need to do something together outside of the bar life.
There's also, Kit Kat Gaming News and Reviews says, I don't drink, but I like to play darts and pool. And see, here's where the gray area comes. Okay, so is the bowling alley the same as a bar? There's a lot of people drinking at the bowling alley, but is that the same? Do you consider if your partner or was to say they were going to the bowling alley with some friends, is that the same as saying I'm going to the bar? Well, the bar in my town, one of the most popular drunken-filled bars is connected to the bowling alley. So it's like, where's the gray area there? Is that okay? Is it not okay? I better not find you over in Brucey's. You can go to one lane, but you better not be in Brucey's.
I have to question Kit Kat, and not to take this the wrong way, Kit Kat, but if my sons met a girl that said she liked to play darts and pool, as a mom, I would tell my sons to question that, because she's probably only telling that so that you'll like her more. Because that's my biggest fear with the younger generation, the 20-year-olds, the 15 to 25, let's say.
What I see is I see when she says that, honestly, and I see good hand-eye coordination and good and that's exactly what the first thing I think is. A person that likes to play darts and pool has good hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. Yeah, but do they really like to play? I like that, Kit Kat.
I would say I would question that.
I don't think so. I think that billiards in general, because they're connected to bars, get that negative kind of connotation on things. But I don't see that. I don't see that at all. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I grew up with a bullet. I grew up in my basement. Even when I went to college, everywhere I moved, I don't take the pool. Unfortunately, I don't get to take the pool table everywhere with me. But I've always taken a dartboard and a pool table in every house I've lived in, and 90% of all the houses I've lived in ever. So it's like that's such second nature to me that I feel probably a little different than you, I guess. But still, that's just me.
Yeah. Gemma says, Miss Kathy, part of my reasoning about relationships is because I've been told to not trust men since I've been younger. I could add to that, Gemma, and say that you shouldn't trust anyone, not nowadays, not just men. But yeah, I mean, trust has to be earned. You can't just go around trusting people, period. You do need to build that up. Vanessa,
it's not terrible advice.
You're saying to lie about drinking. And Kit Kat grew up with a pool table in her dad's basement. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that you didn't like darts and pool, but it's like if my son rebuilds Mustangs. He loves to build on cars. So if he meets a girl someday and all of a sudden she says, oh, I love to build Mustangs, I'm like, okay, you need to make sure that she has a history behind doing that. She's just not just telling you that to like, you know, to have something in common with you.
Yeah, Angel says that she agrees with you as well, and I mean, I would agree. I think that though, I mean, men, it all depends on the intentions behind someone's words and someone's actions, and it's hard to know that in general on anybody. And there's always bad people out there. It doesn't matter what age, race, gender, where you met them. It doesn't matter how you met them, how you communicate. There's always bad people that have bad intentions and are going to try to fool you into doing something, maybe scam you out of your money, scam, you know, try to get and, you know, do something that you don't want to do of any kind. And so you should always, again, to question is not to doubt. You should question everything.
That's very, very true. I totally agree with that.
Question is not to fear. It can, of course, those things do drive questioning, but you should question everything all the time. And because there's one person that, you know, is looking out for you in every way, and that's yourself. You may not other people like your parents, your loved ones, your kids, whoever, there's people that look out for you, but they don't have all the information that you have about yourself and about what situations you put yourself in. So, you know, you're the one that's 100% there all the time, and the one above. God will be there with you, but the only person, the only being that will be there with you all the time. So you can only rely on those two people, yourself and God. And above that, even, you know, you're the only one there. So you have to look out for yourself and watch who you communicate with, and watch what situations you put yourself in, especially if you start involving alcohol or something like that. Now you've limited your own ability to make good decisions, and therefore you're more likely to fall into a bad situation.
Right. Let me address what Kristen awkwardly had said. Hello, thank you for joining us. She agrees. She grew up playing darts, also grew up working in cars. Why can't women enjoy the same thing that guys do? If you're questioning that, I think that that's questionable. I don't. I think that women do enjoy the same things. I just said to question whether or not they're truly saying that. Again, with Gemma, not trusting what someone you just met says they like to do. I think that you should look into it further and make sure they're, you know, they can back it up. So that was my point.
And Remy says, you can, I think, Miss Kathy, just means check things like that out, man or woman, because some people will say they like the same things you just to hook up. Yeah. Exactly. People will deceive you for all kinds of different reasons in all aspects of life, from your work to your life, to your church, to your, people you meet online, on YouTube. People are trying to deceive you for their own benefit, for many different reasons. And that's, you know, unfortunately I don't know. It's not, I'm not saying that, I don't want to say the wrong way. It's greed, envy. These things are natural.
Maybe insecurity too. Maybe they just want you to like them.
Yeah. And people may not even know what they're doing. Their intentions may not necessarily be a bad thing, you know, and they may not even know that to most their intentions are considered bad, I guess. But that's where it's the hard part for anybody in life. Life is hard because of all these decisions we have to make, and people and interactions and relationships we have. It's hard to make all these decisions at all. And, you know, back to online relationships, all of these things that we're talking about, when you're meeting someone online and you aren't going to be able to communicate with them in a one-on-one, face-to-face situation, you're now you're having to take the information they give you. They can present themselves as godly. They can present themselves as proper and, you know, not been in jail for half their life or whatever, you know, any things that you might consider you yourself, and everybody's different, to think that are not something you're looking in a partner. They could find that out about you. Maybe it's on your profile or on some video that you made. And so therefore they can take that information and use it against you to not present it themselves. And that, you know, and hide that aspect of them. And then you start to like and fall in love, or like someone that for the things that they're presenting to you, you really enjoying their company, and you've talked with them for hours and hours online and even on the phone. And hello?
You there?
It was just my screensaver. I thought I just lost power. I was like, hello, what? Okay. So yeah, they're presenting themselves with what they feel like is their best self. And a lot of times that can be taken off of your own information that you've given out there already, because you've put out a dating profile, or you've put out a YouTube channel, or a Facebook profile of the things that you who you are, what you like and what you don't like. And it's very, very easy to take that information and present to you someone that you would like. You know, physical attraction, as far as just straight on appearance, is very small aspect, a very small part of your growing feelings for someone. And it's different for men and women less than men. But if that's not an aspect that's going to kill the relationship, then it's very easy to become a catfish and create a persona to fool you into. And some people don't even know that they're doing it. It's just that they know you, they know what they've read on your profile, and they kind of just naturally don't indulge those characteristics that they may have, or they may have insecurities about themselves. And so they don't want to tell, you don't want to tell your partner the negative things about yourself. I mean, at what point in a relationship, in meeting someone, do you decide that it's now time to be completely open? You're not going to do it on the first phone call. You don't do it on the first date either. So at what point do you get to the point where you can really, okay, now's the time to open myself up and to say things that I wouldn't tell anybody else. And that becomes even harder because you're still skipping.
I think you should say it right away, especially if
saying it right. Okay. But you wouldn't do that in a real relationship. You don't go on the first date and go, oh man, this is what's bad about me, this, and this is what's bad about me. No, you don't.
Maybe there isn't anything bad about you. Maybe it's not bad to the other person.
There's not a person watching this, nor you, nor I, not a person watching this doesn't have insecurities about things that they don't wish could be better about themselves. It's not true.
I'm not saying on a first date, but I'm saying at the point where the two mutual people say, let's take this further, then I think that's the time when you be very open and say, okay, now let's talk about what you probably aren't going to like about me. And maybe they end up loving that about you.
Okay, so perfect. That's a good situation. I mean, that's a good idea. So when you decide to go steady, or when you decide to become a boyfriend, girlfriend situation now, the label, you put that label on it. Yes. Okay, so then at that point, but it's still, how long does it take to get to that point? It's how many dates until then? Everybody has their own idea of how many dates or how much physical intimacy there should be before you make those decisions. And that's hard. And that's why dating's hard in general. I mean, online or off, these are aspects that are always going to be hard no matter what, because everybody's different. Everybody has different ideas based on their own experiences and what they want and what they don't want.
Right. Casey is talking about a disability, though. She feels that she tells someone about a disability that she has right away so that they can decide if they want to continue or not. I mean, yeah, I think honesty is the best policy. If you really are truly in a relationship,
honesty is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about lying when asked directly. I'm talking about being more upfront and candid with your with whatever your financial situation, your dating history, your family that you can't stand, or you don't have any family because you can't stand them, or whatever. Those things that people naturally consider to be negative, whether your partner may not. Most people may not think that they're bad things, but everybody has their insecurities about themselves. And
I like what Remy Moore says. Some people are also just naturally manipulative and predatory. Watch for those behaviors. Pay attention to how they interact with everyone and everything. People will reveal themselves to you. And that I want to clip onto that, because like I was telling you, Joker, dating someone, like you had said you were dating someone, and I was like, well, how long have you been talking to this person? It was only like a couple weeks at that point, I think. And I was like, okay, I think you need to talk to them for like 6 or 7 months before you say you're dating someone. And maybe that's where you and I disagree. I think you can't get to know someone in 2 weeks and then say I'm dating them.
I don't think, I mean, come on, Miss Kathy. I don't think I think you're still putting too, you're making this too definite. Everybody's different. Every situation is different. There are people that go and meet and elope within 5 days and never ever look back.
I
And
don't.
there's people that go out their whole lives and their best friend. Their best friend is the person they should have married 30 years ago, and they didn't. So, I mean, it's every situation is different. To put a number on there that 6 months, you should date for 6 months. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that it's probably best practice to make sure that there's enough time that's gone by and that you've done enough communication to make yourself feel comfortable with it.
Enough communication. There you go. Maybe you could communicate for 48 hours straight for,
But there's this idea in society that you have to put these labels on the situation, that if you don't put that label on there, then because you want to feel like someone is yours. You want to feel like someone is as committed as you are, or likes you as much as you like them. And so by not putting that label on there, it gives people the idea that you're not by putting the label on there, it helps comfort a lot of people.
What are you talking about? What label?
A label of boyfriend, girlfriend, of a relationship.
Oh, okay.
By putting that label on the situation, it gives people comfort that you're not looking elsewhere, that you found at least at this very moment, you found what you're looking for. And that's what everybody seeks, is that comfort of love, or that comfort that, someone that you're wanted by someone, and solely you're the only person wanted by them. So by not giving the label, at some point, you're going to run into a crossroads where they're going to think that, you don't want what they want, that you don't want the relationship. And so it's, where do you add that? And I mean, that's just in any relationship, but there's no set, okay, this amount of dates. I always thought 4 dates, kind of four or 5 dates was always kind of I had a pretty good idea of somebody after 4 dates. And I have a whole, in real life, a real life dating kind of situation. I have a whole plan. I should have written a book. I should definitely write a book.
Person to person, not online.
Both. I mean, this is kind of goes into both, because but online now makes it that much harder, because again, you're not getting all the information that you would be getting if you knew where they worked and you knew kind of more of their aspects in real life, and maybe you have mutual friends and you kind of have a better idea of who they are and what's going on. And, just by where they shop, how they shop, gym they go to, those kinds of things that that you take for granted, that, the area, the culture that revolves around that area of that town or whatever.
It's verbiage though of dating, like my 10-year-old, I'm dating a boy. I'm like, where are you going?
Exactly. It's also looked at differently.
I mean, a date to me is you meet person to person, you go out on mutual terms that you're going to have a relationship with this person someday.
Is online a date? Can you date someone online? That's the question. There's where we revolve into a real question. Is it possible to date someone online? My opinion, and my opinion only, and it's probably not going to be a liked opinion. No,
I agree with you.
No, you cannot.
I agree,
because you can commit yourself to someone. You can say, I want this to be a dating relationship. I want to continue to communicate and be open and work towards that. But without with all the information, it's like I was saying before, you have five senses. You've now knocked out 3 of them.
Someone else in your town while you're trying to have a relationship with
that's the decision that you have to make with your partner. Nobody can't, I don't know. It just depends on how your relationship is. But if you have 5 senses and you knock out 3 of them, you've now only got 2 of 5. So you don't even have half the information that you can gather on someone, because you've knocked out taste, touch, and smell. So now you have 2. And then you really, a lot of times when you're talking about text messaging and communicating via chat, you've now only got 1, which is sight. And then you're taking out all of your body communication, your nonverbal communication, such as posture and facial expressions. Now you're down to a half. You're down to a half of a sense that you're supposed to collect information on. And if you can't collect information on at least half your senses, how are you supposed to make a decision on whether you're going to be with someone and how you really feel about someone? You can't. You can't.
Good point.
That because you're now hindering yourself. And so when Miss Kathy was talking about earlier, when she would go and met someone and they weren't, it was just a friend, but they weren't the same person that she thought. It was just a lot different. That's because those senses that you don't have, the information that you don't have, your body, Your mind naturally fills in those slots, fills in what it kind of believes to be that information. The only way I can describe it is it's like if you're going to go if you watch a movie after reading a book, you read a book, then you go watch the movie, and the movie's it's just not really for you. You don't, it's not a bad movie, but you just don't like it that much because it's not the way the image that your mind created when reading the book. So it's different, and just different is sometimes looked at bad from your mind. It doesn't mean that the person's, a 35-year-old man that presented themselves as a 17-year-old woman or female. Which is like catfishing, the worst of the worst in catfishing. It's not necessarily that. It could just be simple things that you don't even realize. But when you meet the person in 5 minutes, you'll know, like, maybe it's just the pheromones, the spirit from the spirituality standpoint. Maybe it's just their spirit, their aura, their being that just doesn't mesh. All of the things that now all of a sudden you're just like, oh, okay. It looks like the same person, but it's not.
How they interact with other people while they're around you too. And that was the thing with my friends. Like, I had such a great friendship with this someone, and our conversations were great. She listened, she gave great advice. But then when we met and we got out in public and I was interacting with that person with someone else, I saw a different person. And I was like, this is not the person that she is when she's with me. And so it made me change the way I felt about my friendship with her, but I still am friends with this person, but it's better one-on-one. But now if that was if it was a partnering relationship, then I would have to question that whole relationship, because if I can't interact with this person outside of my own bubble, then that's not a relationship I would want to go into.
And I mean, this is all dependent on how you look at these words. Okay, just because you look at it one word like dating than I do doesn't mean that I'm telling you that you're wrong.
I mean, that's the difference between a friendship and dating with an intimate person. That's what I was trying to explain. I probably didn't explain it very good.
Dating, it adds in the physical intimacy. With an pure online relationship with someone that you haven't really dated or gone on physical dates with, it's very easy to jump past that physical part. And I'm not referring at any time to sexual intercourse. Putting that straight up, it's not what I'm referring to. It is a part, and it does play a factor, but it's not the only factor in physical intimacy. So if you're skipping past that, it's too easy to put that label that you created by putting on a relationship. Now you want to hold somebody accountable for their actions and how much they show affection towards you, how much they might tell you or gift to you, or how much they do for your birthday or holidays, or these types of things now become expected, but you skipped over most of the get to know you, get to really build and grow feelings for someone. You've skipped over those aspects.
Yeah, you're getting to the 5 love languages.
And so now since you've skipped over that, you've still got this label that you're holding your partner to an expectations of, and it's not fair to you or them because you don't have all the information. You haven't been able to gather. So you can be in a relationship online. I'm in one, and I've been in many, and I don't discourage people from doing it. That's probably what it sounds like, but that's not what I'm saying. It's just, you have to be very careful and know your partner, trust in who you're communicating with, and make sure that you work through some of these things, because these things are these are the things that come up in people's heads and in the girls that I've met in my own mind, the things that have ended up causing problems. And it's because they weren't communicated well enough. We weren't, communication is always in any relationship a hindrance can easily be the downfall to the whole relationship. And if just communication and communicating these things that you realize, like, we have to treat this relationship different than my last boyfriend or girlfriend that I dated for 4 years. You can't now expect the way that relationship progressed to now be the same with your online relationship, because it's different. It's totally different. And I don't know what the answers are. There are, because I've failed. I'm in my 4th relationship, and that's just my online relationships. So it's like, I don't have the answers. I just know, based on my own experiences, these are the things that have kept me from developing stronger feelings for someone, or that have ended up being the downfall.
You failed, in your words, because that's your fear. You have to just overcome your fear.
And that's a big part of it as well, is just not willing to let that door open to,
yeah, that'll happen when you're ready to stop
to commit. I mean,
I don't, like you said, it's not commit. You're afraid to fail in it.
yeah. And so it's like, you know, it wasn't commitment. I commit, like, I mean, by putting a label on the relationship, by being in a relationship, I've committed and I'm fully committing in that relationship. But it's still the next step of lifelong, of a piece of paper that will cause, you know, can cause many issues if wanting to be, you know, when you get into a marriage that, is a long-term, lifelong commitment that I have a hard time. I don't want to fail at it. The probability of failing at that is hard. I mean, it's high. And I feel like everything, it's like I spent 8 months studying how to make a YouTube channel before I even created my first video. Like, I studied every day for hours, every day, hundreds of hours spent on studying the ins and outs of the technical part of making a channel and growing your channel and how to use social media and all those things, because I feel like I have to know something.
You're a bit of a perfectionist
before I get into it. Yeah. Same thing with poker. I didn't even hit the poker table. I spent about the same amount of time studying and watching videos on YouTube and reading books.
You don't want to do anything unless you win at it. That's my husband is like that.
I want to feel like I can win before I even start. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband's the same way. Well, like my 19-year-old though, he's leading a life of a Christian man though. So it's completely different for a Christian man. Whereas my son is not even allowing himself to lust girls until he is ready to meet someone to marry. So he doesn't even date at all right now. So I don't
understand that. I don't really understand that. How do you do that?
It is wrong to lust. He wants to put God first above everything. So until he is ready to completely love a woman, he won't date anyone. He only will date to marry someone.
And he's not to that point at this right now
I mean, he's 19 years old and he's in college, you know, and he's
at 19. I mean, that's old, you know, seems like that's getting up there. I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. I've just never heard. Hold on.
Well, because it would be very difficult. Oh,
in the black trash. Okay. All right. Thanks. Jeez.
Sorry.
All right. I just don't understand how I mean, I don't know. At what point?
Well, because for my husband, for my son's sake, it would be very difficult to have a relationship with a woman that you're lusting and not be.
Well, I mean, that's a hard word to describe, though, I guess.
Well, because it's intimacy. I mean, for my son, he wouldn't want to date a girl and fall in love with her and not be able to marry her right away. And he's not ready to marry someone at 19 years old. So he's not going to date anyone.
It's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I guess I probably have a different idea of what the word lust means and how, I mean, I think if I would have taken that type of road this is just myself, not anything against him, of course. I don't know that I don't know, because I don't think I would ever be ready. How could I because of and it has to do with that fear. I mean, I feel like these past experiences and failures, have, you know, given me a better understanding to make better decisions in the future in a relationship. And I don't know if that would be difficult. That's very difficult. But I mean, abstinence is very difficult anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not even abstinence. That's a step, several steps beyond that, to say that to completely try. I think you can only try to do that. I don't know. Lust is one of the strongest sins, natural sins that to fight or to you know, work against. It's not easy. That's difficult.
Yeah, difficult. I think he is. I think it's very difficult for him.
I mean, I would think at some point, from my experience, at some point it would become overwhelming. Because I know, I mean, I can think back to issues in puberty and on into late teenage years that I couldn't control my own lust, my own you know, natural instincts to get involved with people, and it's that would be very difficult.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he's my third son. I'm the other ones, you know. My oldest is all over dating. My middle one dated for 4 years as abstinence and then married as soon as he could, you know. My 19-year-old is the extreme of both of them. So it's interesting to hear how everyone is approaching this online relationship these days.
I mean, it's not easy. I mean, it's, you know, when you have something like dating and the history in the world, and there's literature, there's everybody has experiences. They can, you know, your grandparents, your older people in your community, whatever, have experiences that they can pass down to you. Don't do this, don't do that. Oh, well, I did this and I really wouldn't do that again. You know, kind of stories that you gather information your entire life to help you make decisions. And with online dating, it's still pretty much so new that there aren't that many resources to gather information on prior to just getting involved. And it's so easy to follow feelings of hope and feelings of, you know, whether it be like, sometimes it could be lust or feelings that you want, you desire so deeply and naturally that it's easy to follow this online, and you should. Like I said, I told myself a long time ago that I wouldn't stop my heart from going wherever it felt like it needed to go. And it's been set up, I've failed, and it's hurt. And, you know, my current relationship is an ongoing work in progress. And so it's easy to, you know, I don't want people to take from my words for that it's something you shouldn't do, because that's not it. It's just something that you just have to
Communicate.
be careful of. Yeah. Communication is always going to be your best friend, for sure.
Yeah. Gemma says she's scared to date. I think it's mostly anxiety and communication issues. I'm easily anxious. Yes. Gemma, I know that you have been on streams before and talked about being asexual, and maybe that is why you're afraid to date, but maybe you need to find someone else who is also asexual. You could probably have a very deep, wonderful relationship with someone. I mean, mostly, you know, the intimacy is something completely separate. I mean, you have to have a friendship, a deep friendship. You have to want to spend quality time with each other. So try not to be afraid.
It's hard. I mean, everybody's afraid.
Friendship, yeah.
Most people are afraid, and they may not show it, but it's relationships is something that we desire. You know, a partner in life is something that everyone desires deeply, and it's very difficult to find and to work through.
We were made that way. That's what we were made for.
Yeah, exactly. And so that it's hard for everyone, you know. So what are you going to do? There's no right or wrong answer to any of this.
No, but it's fun to talk about.
For you.
Hasn't that been fun for you?
You have the security of a real, I've already been in a real relationship, in a real situation. I still having to work through a lot of these things. And
yeah, but let me tell you, it's been a real rocky road all the way. I've said it to other people before. The grass is never greener on the other side. It is only green when you water it.
When you water it. Yeah, that's true.
You're never gonna find Mill. I mean, I can't say that. There are people out there to say, oh, I've had the perfect relationship, but I say there is nothing perfect. You really have to work at it, and you are going to change. My husband and I have changed every 5 years. We've been married almost 27 years, and every 5 years we have hit roads where one of us has changed and the other one has had to allow that change to happen and work through it.
Yeah.
It's been very, very hard, but
I can imagine.
I mean, it's worth it, because I don't think there's one person out there. Even I've told younger generations before, there's no such thing as a soulmate. I don't think so.
As a soul, you just said it earlier. You said that you thought it was there would be you can find true love though, right? Soulmate, I guess. I mean, that's maybe different.
Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, I probably, if my husband were to die today, I wouldn't think that I would never want to remarry.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not want to be alone. I would choose to find someone else. I would not want to be alone. Gemma says, I feel happy, I can tell you. And at Creators Alliance, my best friend, that's one of my faults. Let me read it again. I feel happy, I can tell you. And at Creators Alliance, my best friend, that's one of my faults. What is your fault? That you feel happy?
I don't understand either.
I don't either. Try to reword it for us, Gemma. Help us understand what you're saying. Jess K says, yes, it did. Oh, she's talking. I got it real for a minute. Oh, it got intense for a minute. What? It got intense.
What is it?
I don't know.
Conversation?
I guess our conversation.
Yeah, that's why I put my little disclaimer here.
What does it say? It's backwards. I can't read it.
I should not be held accountable for the words that come out of my mouth.
Oh, it's backwards. It's like mirrored.
No, it's not.
That way.
For you, it is.
It is.
And it's not. Is it backwards?
Maybe not on the actual channel. I haven't been watching the channel. I have the chat popped out into Google Hangouts.
I
won't keep you any longer, though. What did I say? We only have 4 people watching. Wow.
It's okay. Yeah, it's been on. We've been on for a while. But
it is backwards.
It is backwards. I know why.
I have to mute my phone. Hold on.
There it is. It should be right now. But
it's backwards.
Well, now it's changed.
Hey, I got 4 dislikes.
4 dislikes. There you go. So, I mean, I've
been getting a lot of those ever since I've been doing Real Talk.
As candid as I could be, it's the way the experiences I have, that the difficulties that come from trying to do something like that, to do something like an online relationship. It's not easy. And, I mean, I'm sure I probably have some questions, for me after this, but, it doesn't, I don't know. It didn't keep me from coming on here. It did why, it's why I was a little nervous about being on here in the first place, because this is for anybody and everybody. It's a touchy situation, a touchy conversation to have.
You wanting to come on and talk with me about it. I don't want you to be nervous.
Willing. I don't know if wanting, willing to.
You were willing. Okay. Jessica says, my hubby is my one and only. I love him and so much. I couldn't live without him. He is my one and only person. I love him till forever, even after we died. Aw. Gemma says, okay, Miss Kathy, I ran telling you about me being scared of being in a relationship. Okay, she feels like she can tell us both that she is scared. That's what she meant to say.
And you should be scared. Everybody's scared.
Yeah. Jessica says, they are just watching you. I thank the people for disliking them because of the view. Oh, yeah, the dislikes. That doesn't bother me at all. I agree with almost everything y'all talked about. It was a good combo. Thank you, Kit Kat. She agreed with almost everything.
Almost. I'm sure I'm gonna get a phone call here as soon as I hang up.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, we got something to talk about. Well, I'm sure we do. We always got something to talk about. This is hard. It's hard. I am in a relationship with Kit Kat, and I don't hold any of the information that I've said or any of myself back from her or anybody in the past. It's just, coming into a situation like this where I knew that I was going to be candid, and honest with the audience and with you, and that not that I have things to hold back or things to fear. It's all about perception, and that leads on to the same thing we've talked about. I mean, the way that you're perceived, somebody may have come in and taken, gave you your dislikes and heard a small part of what I was saying, and maybe they're in a online relationship right now, and they didn't believe me, they don't understand, they disagree, and they just left a dislike and left, or something like that. I mean, it's all in how you perceive the world and how you perceive the things that are going on around you and the people that you interact with. And when I come onto this situation like this, I was just afraid that my words would be perceived, differently than intended, not necessarily by her, but by anybody. And because it is a touchy situation, everybody has some experience. Most everybody has experience in relationships, and these days, a lot of people have, some experiences in online relationships, and we all obviously have in relationships and intimate relationships though. And so it's like, it's a touchy situation. It always is going to be. Love, sex and life is always going to be a touchy situation, because everybody has their own experiences. And most of the time we all have experiences that aren't positive, that aren't that, you know, don't make us feel very good.
Kit Kat took back and said she does agree with everything that you said. Kristen Ockley, hell yeah, y'all are going to have a phone conversation about how much you like each other. Aw. Okay, so everyone, it is out in the open. And if you are listening now, Joker and Kit Kat are in a relationship. There you go, Joker. You just went past your fear now. You made it public.
To end it, I do want to pretty much before I run into going around in too many circles, but that's been this has been and when turning it back to YouTube and to what we're trying to do here as well is, you know, this has been an issue, and it was an issue in both of my relationships since we've been on YouTube. Is making how much to make this information known that I am in. Again, I don't think it's hard to say that it's a dating relationship, a committed relationship.
It's difficult to let your family know when you're in a relationship. And YouTube right now, you're in a community, you're in a family, whether you think it's family or not. You all have mutual. That's the word you should use.
Because that label is.
When my son has finally decided to date a girl, I would probably be the last one he would want to know. Because once you get to that point, yes, that's where you're committed. That's where you have to go beyond whatever fear it is that you have with wanting anyone mutually to know you're in a relationship.
Well, and from my standpoint, and being a guy, and you know, an ugly guy, I get this. You know, there may be people or women that, you know, they're attracted to my channel because maybe because of my perception of availability or those types of things. And so you know, nobody wants to, so it becomes hard to know. But I mean, those people, that is for me specifically, that's, you know, that's not an issue. If they're not there, I'm only presenting who I am and what I enjoy to do and with myself. So if they don't like that and they don't want to view, I don't want to change my behaviors and my content based on the fact that someone only likes me because they think I'm single or whatever. So, but I know that Kit Kat specifically didn't in the beginning and she felt like it would be, that was her basically that would be causing a dip in my views. And once this information came out, would it cause a decrease in my views? And you know, of course, nobody wants to be the reason for that. And so that became a discussion, and to a degree, an issue, not really an issue. I mean, we've been able to communicate with it to a degree, but still, it's still an ongoing issue that it's like, you know, and at what point do you put it on my forehead or like scrolling across the screen and everything I do? Because you're never going to get that information out to everybody. There's always going to be people that haven't seen you in 3 months, but come in and thought, oh, I thought you were single or something like that to me. And they may not know, but how do I get that information out? Because if I do it like a stream or in a video, you know, that doesn't always carry over to my whole set of audience of viewers. So it's like, where does that come into play too?
If you're ready to find someone and start a relationship with them, then yeah, you do need to label it across your forehead. I think so.
But okay, I'm a literal person, Kathy. So explain to me in a literal, physical, actual way to appropriately do such a thing.
Well, for your particular situation, if you're a YouTube channel and you're attracting single women, then yes, you need to publicly say.
No, I have publicly said, but at what degree do you need to continue? Like, how do you continue to do it and make sure that, I mean, at what point is it, okay, now it's known, now it's been good enough, you know, like you don't ever know. That's the hard part. You don't ever really fully know.
At a point where if you had someone approaching you or flirting with you, you need to stop it right away.
Well, and that's where we've caused that's where there's been some discussions in our relationship, not to blast all of our stuff out there, but you know,
I'm sitting online right now not wearing a wedding ring, and I think I'm pretty dang good looking. I mean, some man could come up to me and say, hey, you know, you wanna get together, you wanna, you know, start talking more. I would immediately have to say, no, I'm married and happily. Thank you though.
Well, but that's where the gray area comes in, is at what point does, what point is it flirting? Because flirting is different for different people. And what point is it become too much or become too forward or too aggressive to now it's
I
reached
think
that
it
point?
matters with the other person. If my
Matters only with your
husband,
partner.
it would matter to my husband.
Exactly. He's the only
So
person, because
he would have to define what flirting is. It would have to be in his definition, not mine.
exactly. And that's where we have run into a little bit of conflict, and where people misinterpret everything, is that if just because, two people, there's all kinds of different relationships out there, from open relationships to, swinging type relationships to, and it's all what you and your partner define.
Relationship. That's crazy.
Well, to you it is.
It
But
is.
to some people it's natural, and that's where you have to understand, and that's where your communication comes in and becomes the your best friend, becomes the only savior in your relationship, is being able to understand what offends your partner, what makes your partner upset, and that you're not going to disrespect them by doing such things. But
okay, Casey, I saw what you said. We will save that for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're having her on tomorrow, right?
Yes. She says she has a lot to say with this personally about her spirituality. So she's going to save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow's topic is on spirituality, and that is a broad topic, but I'm looking forward to talking over it with Casey. Oh, let's see what else. Kristen Ackley, a man's version of cheating is way different from women, not all, but the majority. I would have to disagree with that. I think, again, that's just based on both partner, what is considered cheating or what is considered flirt.
Yeah, I would say that. I would disagree with that too, but I would say that it is a common issue in different forms. I mean, because again, that communication is what's the problem, the lack thereof. Therefore, but communication is always going to be an issue with every relationship. I mean, it's hard to do that, and because you don't want to always indulge your.
She brags about her man. That's all I care about. It's what he thinks, and he loves me and cares about me and helps me with my life and YouTube channel. I have him on my channel a lot. Yes, it is very obviously that you very much love your man. That's sweet. Remy Moore, that will be a cool show. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you can join us tomorrow, Remy. Jess K, my best friend and my only other gender I talk to. Oh, see, now that is a very good leadway into me, because as a woman, most of my friends are men, and they always have been. And I don't know if it's because I have 4 older brothers, but I am so much more comfortable talking with a guy. And that's just something that my husband had to accept about me. Because I'm on the phone all the time with men. But we trust each other. I don't cross the line. I mean, if it did get to the point where my husband was uncomfortable with me talking with a guy, I would stop it. I would have to stop it.
And hopefully, and hopefully he would say, before it got to be a serious, problem, fight, even to the fighting point or argument point, that it's your responsibility to indulge those negative feelings that even when they first start forming. It's your job to indulge those feelings, and hopefully you have a relationship with your partner and an understanding that that you're just expressing it and you want to work through it. You want to communicate about why it does this and why it doesn't. And it doesn't always mean that just because I'm having concerns or doubt or fear that it means I don't want this relationship anymore, or you're doing something wrong even. Just that now, but to express what's going on inside of your own self is the most important thing. And that's hard to do. It's hard to, even with the partner, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to cause more conflict. And so that's very difficult for a lot of people. And if you found it,
agree with each other. She's saying you and your so need to talk about what flirting and cheating means to each of you to better understand and avoid fights in the future. Yes. Jess K says, I am uncomfortable talking to males. And see, I mean, that's why you and your partner, you only speak to your husband, and that's good to communicate that. I'm uncomfortable talking to women, honestly. Remy Moore says, true Kit Kat, define those lines and make them clear. Remy Moore says saves a lot of hassle. Communication is so important, and that could be a whole nother topic.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. They're all, yep, good. Everybody seems to be agreeing at this point. Casey, I was in an online relationship for 9 months. He lives in Holland and I live in Florida. And it was one of the best friendships and relationships I've ever had, and I missed him. Where is he now, Casey? Kit Kat says, I'm friends with more men than women. Women can be vicious. Yes, that is so true.
Be vicious. So I just plaster this all over every everything I do. At the beginning of every video. Attention! Alert! Alert! Alert!
New banner.
Pay attention! Pay attention! Alert! Alert! Alert!
That should be your new banner. Oh.
All right, Miss Kathy. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real. It's been fun. It's not been real fun though.
My little girl came in while we were talking. I don't know if you guys heard the dog barking, so I need to go approach Jessie. She got off the school bus and went right onto her iPad, I'm sure. So,
all right. Well,
thank you so much, and thank you everyone in the chat.
All right. Well, I hope something was good. You know, it was a good talk. It seems like the audience somewhat you know, responded to it in a positive way. So you know, it's hard. Don't keep yourself from following your heart. If you're following your heart means finding someone online, and that's what you really feel like, you know, then do it. Don't stop from ever following your heart, because it is the best feeling you can ever have in your life. And I'll never stop chasing it. And I failed at many online relationships, and I'm in one right now after the ones I've failed and the heartache that it's caused me. But
it's going to kill everybody if you two ever break up. I mean, it's going to destroy all of us. Why public? I'm just kidding.
Well, it's just another issue. That's another day. So that's all I got to say. Is that I don't want
stay on for just a quick minute so I can say goodbye to you personally. Okay, Joker. Thank you everyone for coming, and check out Real Talk tomorrow with KC.
1 p.m. Bye.